Game time, we diving deep. From the stairs to the play, no time for sleep. Below the surface, we're working, we set the scene. Who's your host? Scott Levine. Below the surface.
Welcome back to Below the Surface. This is where stats meet strategy. Today, I've got a lot to cover in episode 6, so buckle in. If you guys are new here, I'm Scott, your host, and I'm glad you're here. Shout out everyone tuning in, whether you're watching on YouTube, listening in on Spotify, or catching my clips on social. I appreciate all you guys. Today's episode is all about two things: training camp and injury news, and some preseason headlines. Which ones matter? Which ones are just hype? And then second, late round league winners. Picks past round 10, post 120 ADP, redraft steals, and deep stashes for best ball and dynasty. All right, guys. So with all that said, let's dive in. All right, this time of year, the news cycle is just relentless. Every beat writer has a story. Every rookie is turning heads. Every veteran is in the best shape of their life. Our job, we got to separate what's actually important from what's just noise. So let's go team by team, and here are some that I found that headlines stuck out that really matter and will affect fantasy relevant players. The team that I'm going to start with first is the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, this team has been going through it. They always seem to have poor injury luck. Their star left tackle, who they just gave a huge contract extension, Sean Slater, left tackle, is out for the year. Huge blow to Herbert's blindside protection. Luckily, they did draft a star, Joe Alt, who's going to switch back over to left tackle, and then they have Trey Pipkins, who's played on this roster, and he's played a lot of snaps in this league, but you can't replace what Rashawn Slater was for this team. This matters for pass protection, deep shots, run game efficiency. Rashawn Slater is just a huge loss, and that doesn't mean players are going to be completely out on the Chargers, but it definitely takes a hit for them. The next guy that I want to mention from the Chargers is Najee Harris. I spoke of him in a previous episode. He's dealing with that eye injury, not practicing. It's also a new team for him, and he's missing a lot of practice. This could be a bigger deal than most people think, and that's why I am so in on Marion Hampton, their rookie running back they just drafted. Now, the Chargers were actually just recently in the news for a good thing, actually. They signed veteran Keenan Allen, and he could be a good target earner, already has that connection from years past with Justin Herbert. But what might happen is he might eat into Trey Harris and Keandre Lambert-Smith, who's been receiving some hype, the two rookies usage, and even Ladd McConkey. They have similar roles, and it's good to see Ladd back practicing. He was out for a while. But that's all I have for the Chargers. The next team I want to bring up is the Minnesota Vikings. Currently, Jordan Addison, we just found out, suspended for 3 games. So he'll open up some early targets for some depth wide receivers, and I like Hawkinson and Aaron Jones out of the backfield a little more early in the season for fantasy options. Next player would be Justin Jefferson. He's currently dealing with a hamstring injury. It seems to be minor, but we just want to keep an eye on any soft tissue injuries because they can linger. And with a player of this caliber where you have to draft him, that has my attention always. JJ McCarthy, he looked good in his one series of preseason and had a great connection with Addison. It really sucks that he's going to be missing games. Jordan Mason, another guy I'm pretty high on in this offense. This offense is just a good offense to target, great O-line, good head coach, fun fantasy offense. So that's what I have on the Vikings for as of right now. The next team that is going through a completely terrible time right now, the San Francisco 49ers, currently dealing with a litany of injuries to mainly just the offensive players. Currently, Jawan Jennings is holding in and then has a calf injury, but I'm not really panicking about the calf injury. I think that's more a wallet injury, and he's just saying that to hold in and not have to practice and use it as leverage. But right now, he's not on the field, so gotta obviously keep an eye on his early season production. Then we also have Brandon Ayuk, who we just heard today. He's targeting a week 6 return. He's not on track for week 1, which opens the door for Ricky Pearsall to take the lead role while he's gone. Ricky Pearsall, a guy I wanted to bring up for sure as well. well. He's been receiving so much hype this camp, and I've been riding on him drastically. I think he's worth a 6th round pick right now at this current moment in 12-team leagues, full PPR. I think he should be seeing close to 7 to 8 targets, like right from the start of the season. Then also in their running back room, it's actually ridiculous what's going on. Isaac Arendo, he got a shoulder injury, banged up, out 4 to 5 weeks. He's a depth piece behind McCaffrey, who showed promise as a rookie. Their rookie running back, Jordan James, he has a broken finger now. He's going to be gone for 4 to 5 weeks, it seems, as well. And I was hoping that with Arendo banged up, he was going to be able to show some promise. He was one of the rookies that I liked. And in that Shanahan offense, you just have a better chance of success. Next guy, Amir Abdullah. We just found out news today that he's out for a year. He was another depth piece they had behind the other 2 backup running backs. And also, we just heard today, rookie Jordan Watkins is dealing with an ankle sprain, out 4 to 5 weeks potentially as well for him. This is a stacking injury situation. 1 guy banged up, that's fine, manageable. 6 players on the same side of the ball, that's when it really starts to matter. Now I want to move on to the Kansas City Chiefs. Right now they have Rashee Rice, currently dealing with the pending suspension, and his ADP has just been in flux lately throughout August. So we need to start adjusting early season Kansas City target share. Xavier Worthy could see immediate usage, and this also makes me want to bump up Travis Kelce as well. And then along with Rashid pending suspension, we have Hollywood Brown currently dealing with a foot ankle injury. With him dealing with something already in camp, you just want to monitor closely. He did miss time last year, and Andy Reid said it wasn't a high ankle sprain, but he's not practicing right now. So we just want to keep an eye on these guys. If he's dealing with something, that opens up the door for rookies and Worthy and Kelce to have a bigger role. The next team is the Cleveland Browns that I'm going to be talking about. Some news surrounding the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, we know about the Quinshawn Judkins current rookie unsigned domestic violence case, which I mentioned in previous episodes. He's going to be missing reps throughout all of camp, and we don't even know when this is going to be resolved. We'll see what goes on with that. So that just means a bump to their other rookie and Jerome Ford, their other rookie, Dylan Sampson, who we covered in last episode. The Browns in their preseason game, they're dealing with a lot of quarterback injuries right now. Their quarterback room is just kind of ridiculous. They have Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders, but they didn't want to play Joe Flacco, who's presumed starter right now. Currently, Kenny Pickett is dealing with a hamstring injury, and Dylan Gabriel was also dealing with something. I'm not sure exactly what right off the top, but that led to Shedeur Sanders getting his chance to start in the first preseason game. And he looked good, man. I was impressed. I'm rooting for the kid. I personally did not feel he was a first round level prospect, but 5th round fall was too far, and I've loved how it's humbled him almost, and like he seems to have that chip on his shoulder again and putting in that work, and I just want to see him succeed. Good stuff out of Shedeur, and he'll probably have people clamoring for him in season at some point. They might want to give him a chance. Moving on, the next team to mention is the Washington Commanders. With the Commanders right now, they're dealing with a bit of a situation with Terry McLaurin and ownership. He's holding in. I'm not panicked yet, but it's getting into mid-August, and he's not practicing. He's an older player, so expect a slower start if you do draft Terry McLaurin. He'll still probably be a solid player throughout the season if they get it done. If he gets traded, then yeah, that's really going to shift things. And that's mainly the only news I have for you on the Commanders as of right now. But yeah, keep tabs on Terry. Moving along to the New England Patriots. This is a team that's actually been really exciting me this preseason and camp. Travion Henderson, a player I've loved since high school. Thought he was incredible coming out, going into Ohio State as a freshman stud, and his hype is just real, man. I had him as a top prospect in this class, a first round grade, and he's getting a ton of first team reps. He's doing great in the red zone drills, and we saw that 100-yard kick return and that carry. He took 18 yards. This isn't just empty praise. We're really seeing him get things done. Also, want to shout out Will Campbell, who a lot of analysts' weakness for him was his arm length, but he really showed his punishing ability when he was getting after it in the second level and putting guys into the dirt. Really impressive stuff out of Will Campbell in that first preseason game to me. And then they also have Kyle Williams, who's been a pretty impressive rookie. So shout out to the Patriots for their hype. There's some hype that I actually am buying and looking to target guys in this offense. It really will all fall on Drake May's success and the offensive line coming together as a unit into a really solid unit. But they have the backbones of a successful team. Now let's move on to a team that's already been established for a little bit these last few seasons, and that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Right now, we're going to get into another player who's getting a ton of hype, maybe damn near as much as Malik Neighbors was his rookie year coming in. I feel like I was seeing a Neighbors hit piece from a reporter every single practice, and that's what it seems like for Emeka Egbuka right now. Rookie wide receiver, drafted in the first round. We went over Emeka in our rookie episode, and he just continues to impress all camp long. Had a great catch in preseason, almost like mossing a guy, and he's just going to be a PPR-friendly guy that I would be willing to reach on in your redraft leagues and best ball, wherever you want. Dynasty, just get this guy on your team somehow. Next thing about the Buccaneers, unfortunately, they do have a few injuries right now going on. Rashad White dealing with a groin injury. We'll see how that progresses throughout the rest of camp. But it does open more chances for Sean Tucker, and obviously Bucky Irving will benefit if he's gone for the start of the season. But the worst part about it is Tristan Wirfs, we found out earlier this offseason, got knee surgery, and he's currently on the PUP. He's a really elite pass blocking left tackle, probably the best pass blocking left tackle in the game right now, I would say. And we're going to be just watching closely how he rehabs. And with that said, the Buccaneers can be a really great buy low mid-season for fantasy year, especially if they start slow, guys. Like, really look to target these Buccaneers players. Their end of season schedule is just incredible. Moving on to the Green Bay Packers, these rookies have just been, I don't know, I'm just loving these rookie hype, and I'm really targeting majority of the rookies in this class that are at a draftable ADP. The guy I want to mention is first round receiver Matthew Golden. This kid has just been continually getting hype. Jordan Love from the coaches. They keep mentioning how good his hands are, how fluid he is. And I know his production profile is kind of gross for those like veterans who look into that stuff. And he shouldn't really work out based on the numbers, but I just kind of want to ignore that and buy into the hype a little bit right now and get some Matthew Golden on my team if I can. I think he's an exciting player. And that also ties hand in hand with my rise of Matthew Golden, as Jaden Reed was just seen in a walking boot with a foot injury. I was personally already fading Jaden Reed, but now while he's in a walking boot and the coach is only hopeful that he's going to be ready for week 1, that's not great to me. So that just boosts Matthew Golden and even Tucker Kraft for me. So yeah, keep your eye on the Packers offense throughout camp and how that shakes out. Continuing on, the next team that I want to mention is the Buffalo Bills. Right now, we found out that Khalil Shakir is dealing with a bit of an ankle injury, a high ankle sprain. Could miss 4 to 5 weeks, but might be ready for week 1. We'll see. He probably won't be at 100% right from the start of the season, so that'll just open more room for Kincaid to command those intermediate targets early on. So I would also monitor that injury as well. Next, the Indianapolis Colts. They played a preseason game and they decided to start Anthony Richardson first and give him that first crack at the first preseason game. And unfortunately, he misread the coverage and didn't shift his line right, and he got smacked hard and dislocated his pinky or injured his pinky finger, it seemed. But that doesn't make me downgrade him at all. He'll be fine. He's already back practicing. He's just going to be one to worry about his health all year. Next, Baltimore Ravens. They had the Isaiah Likely injury. He's going to be probably missing the first few weeks of the season. So that's a boost to Mark Andrews definitely early on. He could be force fed, and just all other pass catchers get probably a small boost, and it just condenses the offense a little bit. We'll have to see how Isaiah Likely heals up and how quickly he's able to get back on the field. Otherwise, the Ravens are just looking incredible. I was able to watch a little bit of the Colts-Ravens game, and Keaton Mitchell just looked incredible in that game. He was so explosive. Glad to see he looked well after coming off a major injury. That's all I have on the Ravens. So let's move on to the Seattle Seahawks. They cut their former tight end Noah Fant, and now that's going to elevate a role for their rookie Elijah Arroyo and AJ Barner, who is their rookie pick in 2024, and now they're going to compete for that role, and it's going to be those two guys out on the field mainly at the tight end position. And I just love the youth movement, and that means I have a little bit more faith in Elijah Arroyo in best ball leagues and in Dynasty. Also, Ken Walker continues to see that rest treatment, just monitoring his foot soreness closely, and they just want to make sure he's right for the season. We know how effective Ken Walker can be when he's out on the field, but that man, his body doesn't like football for some reason. So hopefully he's able to stay upright, because he just forces so many missed tackles, man. He's just such a fun player to watch when he's out there. Continuing on, the next team is the Atlanta Falcons. Let's talk about some news here. Darnell Mooney currently dealing with a shoulder injury, and he's probably going to miss the rest of camp. All those early slot reps could go to some depth guys, and then also expect Drake London to be fed. Kyle Pitts should see a boost in early season work and just that connection with Michael Penix, continue to work on it in preseason, getting those extra targets because of Mooney's absence. This is an offense that is really exciting to me, and I think Michael Penix could throw a ton this year. Pass catchers, Bijan Robinson out of the backfield. I think this team is going to be a good team to buy into. With that said, let's move on to the Miami Dolphins. Currently, Miami Dolphins, the main thing I want to touch on here is just Tyreek Hill. He's currently dealing with trade speculation in a league. Those can be annoying injuries, and add that to last year's wrist issue. I was just hoping he can get back to practice and they can get rolling. Also, what he said last year, the trust issues that's been going on. I just don't love the vibes right now. I moved Tyreek up initially, but I'm a little bit more pessimistic now as we move into August. Let's continue on to the next team, the Tennessee Titans. This one is just one you hate to see. Tajay Spears, he looked good in camp, and now he just picked up a high ankle sprain in the preseason game. And that's just a tricky injury because it can zap your explosiveness for weeks and you might not come back at full strength. So a guy, Tony Pollard, who I was already high on, maybe that boosts him up your rankings just a touch and makes you feel even more confident, and maybe even taking him as your RB2 instead of your RB3. The next team I'm going to mention is the Philadelphia Eagles. Right now, they're dealing with a few things on their offensive side of the ball. A.J. Brown's got a little bit of a hamstring strain, I guess, and it's just likely maintenance, but at his age and with the soft tissue, like I said, you just always put those things on your watch list. And then additionally, we just saw that Landon Dickerson is dealing with a meniscus injury, and he's just an incredible run blocker. So I want to know the full extent of that and if he'll actually miss real time. All right, that's all I have on the Eagles. So I want to move into the Los Angeles Rams. Their quarterback, Matthew Stafford, dealing with the back issue again. This guy's been dealing with that back issue from 2017 on, and it sometimes is more serious than others, but we'll have to pay really close attention to this one. He recently threw, and they said he was making all the throws, but he just missed practice today, was in street clothes, and whatever happens with him, if he's not right, that has a heavy impact on how you want to approach the Rams in redraft. Just lowers the overall ceiling, touchdown, red zone, drive efficiency, all of it. Matthew Stafford would be a huge loss. And that's all the news and training camp and preseason headlines that I have for you guys today. I love being able to keep you guys updated with all these reports and hype, and make sure you guys are keeping up to what's going on lately in the fantasy landscape. So I want to talk about next is what actually matters versus what's noise. So just list off real quick. What matters to me are injuries to starters, contract disputes that could push into week one, and real depth chart movement that we see throughout the preseason, where guys jumping guys in the preseason and playing with the ones. And what's noise to me is when the players come out and say they're in the best shape of their life, the beat reporters put out those slow-mo one-handed catches in practice, or we hear about guys crushing in 7-on-7 in individual drills. Those are noise to me. So an example of this is Travion Henderson, who we mentioned earlier, how his hype is tied to actual usage. That's real to me. Be careful of some of these beat reporters' posts and tune into my channel to know what actually matters most. Now let's get into our next segment, and this is where you win your leagues. The double-digit dart round throws. All these players have sleeper ADPs post round 10, round 11 plus. All these players are complete gems and have a real upside that can win you your league. First guy I'm going to start with is a quarterback. Trevor Lawrence, quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. To me this year, I think he's got such a safe floor and a sneaky high ceiling. We know about the draft pick of Brian Thomas Jr. just last year, and with this new GM staff completely went all in, trading for Travis Hunter, the unicorn as he wants to be called. And we just should expect great things from this offense. It should be much more quick, 2 running back sets out of the backfield, deep shots, play action. What Liam Cohen, their new head coach, was able to implement in the Buccaneers offense, we should see a lot of that in Jacksonville this year. And I just really think this is an offense we should be buying. The price of these guys is not even that expensive. And Trevor Lawrence, he's going really deep down the boards and has 30 touchdown upside like some of these other Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, Justin Herbert, guys who go ahead of him that he can match. And he's also kind of got some sneaky rushing upside. He's shown in the past that he can rush in a few touchdowns. He had 6 one year as the most in his career, which is really impressive. If he can give you 400 rushing yards, that's just a nice extra floor that'll be baked into his game. If he can take advantage of that, Liam Cohen was able to get that out of Baker last year. With that said, let's move into the next guy, another quarterback, and this is Justin Fields for the New York Jets. Fields still has elite rushing upside. I really like what they've shown and invested in the offensive line the last few years, and again this season, spending first-round capital on Armand Membu out of Missouri to beef up the right side of the line. We've seen in the preseason, Braylon Allen take a carry 10 yards completely untouched. What Justin Fields will be able to do is just open up that run game, and he's already got a nice connection with Garrett Wilson dating back to college. Should probably be a 25% target share to Garrett Wilson. So Justin Fields, he has that elite wide receiver one, which is what you need for a quarterback who's not got that great passing floor. And he's got that elite rushing upside that you want to target late in drafts. So Justin Fields is a guy that I've been targeting heavily. Now, this next guy is actually crazy to me that he's made it onto my list, and that's Anthony Richardson. This is a guy who I absolutely slandered coming out of college. I thought this kid was not worth a first round pick, second round pick even, but the Colts took him 4th overall, and they really bought into the physique and athletic ability of Anthony Richardson and the project of what he could be. He had 17 starts since high school at the quarterback position, and he is so raw, and the way that they handled him, playing him immediately as a rookie, I just think they handled Anthony Richardson so poorly, his development, but everybody seemed to be so high on this kid, and especially for fantasy football, drafted in like the top 10 rounds as a rookie, drafted in the top 5-6 rounds as a sophomore, shown no ability to pass the ball. The worst completion percentage and accuracy I've ever seen, but because he had 2 rushing touchdowns in a game, people were ecstatic about his ability to be great. He showed that rushing ceiling in his first few fantasy starts. People just went bonkers for him, but you got to be able to do more than a 2 to 4 game sample size and show me your ability to pass the ball. With that being said, I know that was long-winded and just a slander on Anthony Richardson, but now people are really hating on this guy, and he's an undrafted 15th round, 16th, 17th round guy, which with his rushing ability, like they loved, this is the time to buy in when it's this cheap. He's a great best ball pick to me. All these guys I'm covering are great for best ball late. These are deep sleepers and potential dynasty trade fours. We saw last year Jaden Daniels, unbelievable rusher, going a few rounds after Anthony Richardson, and he was way more productive in college than Anthony Richardson ever was. Obviously, Anthony Richardson early on, overhyped, overdrafted, but now he's underhyped and hated on, and people think he's a bad quarterback. People think Daniel Jones should have the starting role. He's in a quarterback battle, kind of. It is a quarterback battle, not even kind of. And with that said, he's really got to prove to them that he belongs on the field. He made that bad play in the preseason game, and that's not what you want to see, not being able to read the defense, just closing off the whole side of the field and not checking your front side read before you get the ball out. He's got a lot to learn, but he's only played 15 games. He's got a positive win record. You got to let him just get those reps now that you played him early. If he's not good, you can move on from him. Daniel Jones provides a much safer floor for this team potentially, but I don't want that when I'm running an NFL team. I want to hit that highest possible ceiling, and that's how they should be running their team. And Steichen should be trying to get this kid, Anthony Richardson, on the field. All right, let's move on from Anthony Richardson. That was enough of him. Next guy I want to talk about is rookie running back Jaden Blue, Texas kid. He was a guy who wasn't really expected to have much of a role at Texas, but then there was a running back injury to CJ Baxter, a guy I'm high on out of Texas, and he was able to really come on and show out, especially in the playoffs and especially in the receiving game. He's a really explosive 4.3 speed rookie, and if he's able to get touches, or he's going to be a nice late round pick. And this running back room is nothing special. We got Javonte Williams, who's been dealing with tons of injuries in his whole career. Same with Miles Sanders, complete castaway, called probably washed by many, moving from team to team. What do they call those guys? Journeyman. Complete journeyman now at this stage in his career. We'll see if Jaden Blue's able to emerge and be their primary third down back or 2-minute drill guy. The 2-minute drill is really what's the most important for PPR points. Let's get into our last round 10 plus, and then we'll go into a few deep league sleepers and best ball flyers that probably won't be drafted much and redraft at all. But this last guy I want to talk about, who's been receiving so much hype, and it just continued again today, I saw Demario Douglas, Pop Douglas. Now, this kid's a kid I've been put on by Rico Nose. Before his rookie season even happened, he said he was the best receiver on this team, and literally this kid just continues to make his name heard and force his way onto the field. Drake May seems to love him. could be second in targets, maybe first in targets. Who knows if this kid continues to break out. He's just a great late PPR value to me, and I love his game. He's just a talented slot player that might see a high volume targets. His touchdown upside isn't crazy, but hopefully Drake May will just be able to improve in that area and just find him in the red zone. Now, let's get into those dart throws for deep leagues and those best ball formats and guys you might want to trade for based on the training camp hype right now, in my opinion, in your dynasty leagues. First name I want to talk about is from my New York Football Giants, baby. Tight end Theo Johnson. He just is continuing to impress me all camp long. He's a real athletic specimen, good size, strong kid, and has this starting role locked down. Russell Wilson, without Malik Neighbors and Darius Slayton out there, he targeted him 3 times on his first series, and I just love seeing him get involved early. I'm not expecting 3 targets on first drives often. Don't get that, but I really think this guy is going to completely outdo his ADP and maybe even be a top 20 tight end by the end of the season, and a guy you're able to throw in on a bye week. Maybe he's good enough to make the top 12. I don't know. He's really impressed me. Top 12 would be a lot, but like that's not even that hard to do in the tight end position, unfortunately. This is a really deep one. Rookie wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs, Jalen Royals, and he's been just continuing to show me some hype and noise throughout the preseason. I mentioned in the Chiefs news section how Hollywood Brown is out, and then we obviously have the Rashee Rice suspension looming. If that's 6 weeks and Jalen Royals is able to get more on the field and just continue to build that chemistry with Pat Mahomes, I really like what I've been hearing out of camp from him. And you just want to pay attention to Chiefs wide receivers because Patrick Mahomes, he's got that ability to throw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. We all know that. Maybe not this year, but it's in his wheelhouse. Next guy, another wide receiver, another rookie. This is a guy the team traded up 2 additional third-round picks for, and that's Isaac Tesla for the Detroit Lions. He really showed me some impressive things in his first preseason game that I watched. He's a real big-bodied, go up and get it, yards after the catch kind of guy. And just a good size, good frame, and should be a nice target for Jared Goff over the middle of the field. And we'll see how they're able to use him. I don't know how much playing time is, but I've saw him working with the ones, some beat reporter news, and that's just great to hear. They traded up a lot for him, and he could be another piece to just help this Lions team continue to stay efficient, to continue to stay as a top point scoring team in the league. Continuing on, a lot of these guys that I'm talking about as flyers are going to be the rookies, and rookies just have the most unknown value. And at the end of best ball draft, you kind of want to be looking for guys who aren't as commonly drafted and rookies who could really exceed their ADP. This next guy is Alec Ayomanor for the Titans, wide receiver. And man, with him, I saw an incredible clip at camp. He really hit an extremely sexy whip route on this corner, leaving him in the dust, working open. And I've been hearing how he's been getting behind the defense. He had a good joint practice against the Buccaneers. And he's a good big body, deep threat that'll just open up the field for Cam Ward. And he's got to work on his hands, a little bit of drop issues in college, in my opinion, but that just means you're targeted often, and drops aren't always the worst thing. I really like what I've been hearing out of this Tennessee offense, and I just think Cam Ward is just an elevator, and he's really going to improve this team to another level that we weren't expecting. All right, another rookie I want to mention, Corey Krosky-Merritt, a 7th round running back pick. Wow, man. What an impressive camp this kid's been having to make a name for himself as a 7th rounder. And he was even getting first team reps throughout camp. So you just really want to pay attention when you hear something like that. The running back position, you don't even need to be that great. You just really need the opportunities. And if anyone goes down, they do have an older, middle of the road level running back pack in Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson. We know what they are. Corey Krosky-Merritt, yeah, keep an eye on this kid. I watched Fantasy Stock Exchange, and my guy Connor Rogers, he really loves Corey Krosky-Merritt. He loved him pre-draft. He put me onto his tape, and I really did like his tape, and I think he could be an impressive player. He's got a decent feel for the open field, and he's good at getting extra yards. He's just worth monitoring. And then next, I have Adonai Mitchell for the Colts. I wanted to mention him because of Anthony Richardson. I think Anthony Richardson's able to take an accuracy jump. It'll really help Adonai Mitchell. Adonai Mitchell, he's definitely a more inconsistent wide receiver and an untrustworthy wide receiver. He's a little bit of a liability still, not always knowing what routes to run, but like he's shown the ability to run the right routes, and he's just got a great ability to get himself open. He's just got to get better at his timing on his routes and make sure he's in the right spot for Anthony Richardson right when he knows where he's going to. The timing has to be, he's turning when Anthony Richardson's expecting, basically, and I just need to see that more from him. He's really got that ability to stretch the field, and he can route you up too. He's got a great route running ability. So like he's got to refine his game. I don't know if he's got like X alpha in his game and that's how he plays. So that's why he's a little bit scarier, but I really like him as a late round pick, especially in best balls when you could just need that 1 week for the playoffs, and he could definitely be that guy to go off. And finally, the guy that I'm going to talk about last is just one of my guys, like a guy that I just love ever since I saw him last year. I've been hyping him up all offseason, and that's Jalen Coker for the Panthers. I think this guy has been clearly showing that he's a better wide receiver than Xavier Legette. I'm a South Carolina Gamecocks alumni. I love that kid. The deep ball, like, oh my God, he cracks me up. But I think Jalen Coker is truly the better receiver and should be out on the field more than him. What he's able to do, he outproduced him when he plays, and he's just been making noise in camp continuously. Made another play again today, having like a 45-plus yard touchdown from Bryce Young on the move, and made a touchdown earlier in preseason. I really like him. Yeah, that's it for episode 6 of Below the Surface, guys. Today we separated the camp hype from the news that actually matters, and now you got a list of late round redraft targets and deep league dart throws. So if you enjoyed this, please hit the like button, subscribe, drop your favorite sleeper in the comments. And with that said, keep your eye on the stats, trust your strategy, and I'll see you next time. Peace.